Okay, so let's take a look at how you can upload the JSON data into Oracle's NoSQL database. So, starting from the flow, we will first go to Oracle Cloud, and then within menu, we select databases and then choose Oracle NoSQL database. Now, here you have one option to create a table. Now let's click on that, and here you see we have two options, one being simple input, which will basically use this form like interface. Another is advanced DDL. So either one of that you can use to create your table. So I will choose simple input. Right now, next step would be using the capacity. So capacities can provision everything in advance. So let's say 50 read 50 write capacity, or you can choose on demand. Right, so I'll choose provisioned. Just add 50 and this storage one. Next thing would be we have to give some name to the table. Right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to choose my data, and here within files I have JSON data. So I have a list of customers, so I'm going to upload that. Right, so what I will do is I will just name this table customers. You can make it all uppercase, so customers. Then column, I want ID to be a column name, and that should be integer, and also a shard key. Right, should be another primary key column if you need that. Right, next is if I don't want to add the columns, right, if they are non-key columns, I can keep this optional. Right, and I can later upload. So first step is to creating this table. So this is required for some reason. Right, so I will just try and open this in Visual Studio Code. Right, so for non-key columns or optional can be added or removed after tables creation. Right, so let's see if we choose not to add anything, this is also required. Right, so your table would require at least one primary key column and another is non-key column. You can remove this. Right, so they allowed us to do that. Right, now let's take a look at our JSON data. Here you can see customer ID, name, address, right, and then rating. Right, let's close this. Now next thing, we will simply click on create table. It should be created and it will give you green signal that available or created, something like that. You also see the read write capacity, this storage, child table. So I will go through those settings as well. So when you click on here, at the left hand side you can see option to child tables. Can create another child table inside, explore the data by running the query. So if you execute select from customers, nothing will appear. Then there is index option, and you can add index to this particular table. Then there are columns. You can see currently only one primary key. Now I want to upload the data before I can do anything. Right, you can also check the metrics just in case if you are interested in monitoring performance. Right, now if you choose insert row, you have literally nothing to add to. Right, in that case you will just go to upload data. Now here what I will do is I will select that customers.json. So I will open. Here you can see uploading stopped. Primary key field ID must have a value, so currently we don't have that. So what we have to do is, let's say we will go to our columns. Right, and here this is the primary key. Right, so currently we don't have primary key within our option, so we will just go ahead and delete this. Right, and here we will have to come and check whether we can delete from here as well, and now table will be deleted. Now next thing, we will create our new table where I can show you. We have like customers, and the current customers.json, I will open it in Visual Studio Code. I will try to find out CID, which is our primary key and should not be empty. So this cust ID, I will use it as primary key, right? And I will use varchar for that. So simply use column cust ID and should be string. Okay, you can use it as shard ID, right? Everything looks good, nothing more needs to be done. We will just upload the data. Now create table. Once the table is created, our next action should be using the data here to map to that particular table's customer ID, right? So here you can see read capacity is missing, so I have to add that 5051 and then create table. So it will create that and show you the active status. So I will just go there, and here we will go for upload data. Let's see if it takes this time. And it completed uploading of 7 rows. So let's close this now, right? So if we check explore data option, and if I execute, here you can see customer ID C47, C41, C35 and so on, right? Notice one important thing, that it didn't took any other column, right? So what that means is that in order to get the rest of the columns, I will have to map this with empty columns as well, then upload the data, right? So again, this is kind of like big ride for us, going for one mistake after another, but this is something I wanted to show you, why just uploading the data doesn't work like that, right? So here I will choose this provision capacity 5050, right? And then 1 GB storage. Then we again use customers, right? Now the next thing I will choose here is I will have to look for this data in Visual Studio Code. I will just paste those particular set of fields, right? And let's take a look at this field, which is going to be my primary key, right? So if you are going to bulk upload the data, do mind the column names, otherwise you will end up in frustration like this. Now the column that I wish to add is, let's say, name, which is, let's say, string. Default value, I'm not going to add anything. Then address, here you see it's basically a JSON data, so I will use the option for, let's say, JSON. So we have that, it's not like that we don't have it, there is option. So finally there is rating, which is number, right? So we are getting all those columns now, right? So let's go with option of number. If you don't want that, you can also select integer, either one of that would work. As you can see, these are the only fields. So who is our primary key? Customer ID, then columns, name, address, rating. Default value we are not adding anything, so that would go. Now let's create our table, right? So we first learned about using primary key properly, then we learned about adding the columns properly, then only import the data, right? So the third option worked by giving it a structure and then trying to upload the data. Now here you see all our structure, right? Currently we don't have anything, so we'll upload the data. Choose customers JSON, okay, all the rows properly uploaded. Now go to explore data and execute the query, and there you go. Here you see in address you have JSON field, so we have like those three keys, so everything worked perfectly. We have our customer ID, name, JSON data, finally rating. So notice that first rating seems to be taken as null for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe because for some reason I just don't know why that happened. So we'll have to take a look at its columns. So let's say its primary key string. Yes, most likely the rating we picked integer, so everything looked correct. So I don't know why I didn't pick the data for first rating. I guess maybe we can find out later, but for now data looks correct to me and properly uploaded as well. So it took a bit of effort there because I didn't pay attention to first getting all the column names right before getting the data uploaded. Also, I didn't pay attention to primary key, that I just have to look at as well, because whatever we try to add within the tables, one has to be primary key, and that key has to be present within your data. Otherwise your Oracle doesn't know that this particular field is primary or going to be uploaded, right? So this is pretty much the uploading of JSON data within your Oracle NoSQL database.